Alright, with this second tutorial I want to show you a little bit more about Photoshop basics, and this time we're going to work with actual photographs. I've already opened one picture here, and I'm going to open several pictures, and they're going to be kind of random because I'm just doing this for the sake of example. But what I want to do here is go to File, Open, and I'm already in a folder that has pictures. I'm going to click on one once and just get a preview here, and I'll just cycle through a couple. And I'll just select this one, rather random picture here. I'm going to open it, and there you have it. It pops open. Now notice what happens when we open photos in Photoshop. By default it gives us these tabs, and here's the document that I had in the first tutorial. Here's a picture that I already had open, and then here's the one I just opened. Now you don't have to be stuck with this view. In fact, I usually peel these off. I grab the folder tab and I separate them because I can't stand having them like that. So I'll usually peel the ones off I want to work on and separate them. Now there's also options here that we can change. I'm sorry, next button over, where we can change our view as well. We can do float all in windows. So if I select this, each one's got its own window, but occasionally they will snap back together. Now I'm going to use one of these pictures to start a collage, and what I'm going to do is maybe I'll start a new document here, and then I'll use these photos. So I'm going to do new, and I'm going to do the photo 8x10 again. So photo preset, portrait 8x10, and I'm just going to say OK. And again, here by default it wants to attach it to one of the other documents, the one that was in the forefront. What I'm going to do here, oh, it snapped them back together for me. That can get really annoying. See, it wants to snap it to that one now too. I'm going to take this picture and drag it into my new blank collage here. And one of the things you can do with the Move tool selected is just grab this photo and drag it over onto this. Now you're going to see this picture is going to be big. And what I'm going to do is want to shrink it down here. And it's on the white background that came up with this new document. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and Scale. And you can see the handles that pop up, and they're off the actual document. So sometimes if you don't see the handles that pop up when you do this, you may need to grab the picture and move it till you see them, or grab the corner of your window down here and make it larger until you can see these handles. Now to shrink it proportionally, again, we got to do the Shift key and grab one of the corners and shrink it down. And I'm going to take it down quite a ways here. Then I'm going to place it where I'd like it, and I'll just put it up in the corner for now. And notice it still has the handles on it. If I click on the Move tool, it'll say, do I want to apply that change? And that's the size change. I'm going to say yes. Okay, so that was one picture. Now let's take our other picture here. And this time, instead of using the whole picture, let's use part of it. I'm going to grab a lasso tool here. If you mouse over it and hold without clicking, it tells you what these tools are. So I'm going to select the lasso tool by clicking it once. Now I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to do a random selection here, nothing too careful. And when I connect the other end here, it makes a selection. Now when I go to my Move tool and drag this over, it brings in that lasso selection. So that's kind of handy, especially if any of you, especially gals, I shouldn't stereotype, but especially you gals, if you have a scrapbook or you have a mother or grandmother that scrapbooks, you get that kind of look to it for your collage. And notice as I drop pictures on this document, the collage document, it's adding layers each time I bring a picture over. Now I'm going to open up another picture, and again we'll do something somewhat random here. I'll just pick this one, open, and again it attaches itself to my other picture, which drives me nuts. One of you may even know how to fix that, but for me, I guess rather than fixing it, I just kind of tend to deal with it on the spot. Alright, this time I'm going to do another picture, and again I think I'm going to do the lasso tool again, and I'm just going to take out a little part of this picture. Let's do this one-on-one matchup here. Alright, and again when I go to my Move tool and drag this over, it's going to place it in with my other picture, so you can start to put this collage together. And again, one more layer created over here, a layer for each picture. And again, we can sort those just like I showed you on the first tutorial, so one covers the other up. Now, one of the tools that I didn't show you, which you'll be able to see how it works now, I can turn what's called the opacity down on a picture. Make sure you select the correct layer. You can see this one is the team, and if you look at the little thumbnail here, you can see that this is the layer with the team on it. If I click on that layer, I want to make that somewhat see-through so I can kind of see these pictures in the background here. And I'm going to move this a little bit here so it's not quite covering so much, maybe over here a little bit. And I'm going to turn the opacity with this layer selected. I'm going to turn the opacity down. It's at 100% right now. Watch as I drag that opacity down, what happens to the picture. You start to be able to see that other picture behind it, or both of those pictures behind it. Now, you wouldn't want to turn it down too much, but it can be kind of handy if you don't want one picture to totally cover up another. You can work with opacity in that situation. It's kind of a handy tool to use. If I turn this all the way down to 0, it becomes invisible. And I can turn it down to like 20%, it's a ghostly image. So that's a handy tool when putting a collage together as well. Some other tools, and I'm not going to show you everything today, but I'm going to show you a couple more things to get you going here. Let's take a picture here. And again, you see my selection was here that I did with the lasso. I got to go back to the lasso tool, the one that created that selection, right click and deselect. And now I'm just working with a picture here. And I just want to show you a couple other neat things that we can do here. This is kind of advanced and ahead of ourselves, but I like to show people. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this person, and I'm going to make a duplicate of them. And one of the ways we can do that is I'm going to go to a stamp tool here and select clone stamp. I am going to hold my option key down. Notice what happens to my pointer here when I hold the option key. It turns to a crosshair. If I click right there, it makes a copy of that area. If I come over here, and you can see kind of a ghostly image of it here, I can start to brush that same person. I just need to pick a spot where it goes, and you kind of have to guess on your height here. But I'm going to start to brush this person. Now, if I wanted to be real accurate, I would do a smaller brush size, and so that I could be more accurate about it. That way I know I'm just getting a hand, and it looks like I should be getting into a leg here. And if I do it real careful, and there are some situations where this is kind of fun to play with. But I'm trying not to get too much extra because it'll grab all the background with it. So you don't want to grab really more than what you need here. And I'm going to do this in kind of a hurry. But you can see, now see I already got somebody else's foot there. So it's not going to be a perfect job. But you can kind of see how I'm able to recreate a duplicate of this person. And if you did this carefully in the right setting, you can make it look very authentic, depending on your backgrounds and some other things. There's a hand or an arm coming out here a little bit, but again, we're going to run into another player here pretty soon. But you get the idea how that works. I could probably finish a leg here. And again, if you're careful with the background you're using and some other things there, you can do a pretty nice job of this. And I'm just trying to be a little careful here. All right. So, and again, that doesn't look quite right because I did it in a hurry, and this wasn't an ideal example, but I just wanted to show you how that clone stamp looked there. It looks like maybe I should have brushed more of him in here on the back, but you get the idea there. So that's kind of a fun tool. Now the next thing I wanted to show you, and again, this is getting ahead of ourselves and it's kind of fun, but I'm going to close this one here, and I don't need to save this right now. And actually I'll close this one. Again, deselect to get rid of that. Okay, and I'm going to close that one. Now I did one thing here for kind of fun. I took a really muscular guy here, and I took a picture of him. I'm going to show you a fun thing we can do with it. I'll go out to my desktop here because I've got this picture saved here. I'm going to right click on this, open with, and I'm going to choose Photoshop. Now this guy's got some huge pipes already. I know you're wondering why do I want to mess with those, but I'm going to show you a fun tool here that we can mess with. We're going to go to Filter, Vanishing Point. Oh, my bad. Filter, Liquify. Okay. Now what we can do here is there's a bloat tool in here, which is right here. We can start to pump somebody up here a little bit. Not that this one needed it anyway, but and if you're careful, again, you can get carried away from this and get it real distorted, but if you're careful and you have the right picture, you can do this and do a pretty convincing job. Now, you can do that to enhance someone if you choose. So that's one thing that you can do, and this is with the, again, bloat tool that's under the liquify filter, but you can also do it to do hideous things to people. You can really mess with their nose. Now I've got glasses on, so this won't work quite as good, but you can do some alien type funky looks to people. Let's take that double chin there and make that even more special. So you can give somebody some pretty goofy looks, or you can use it to enhance things. So that's kind of a fun one, getting ahead of ourselves, but I thought I would show you that. I'm going to hit cancel here not to save those changes. Okay, with that, I believe you have some basics here where you could get started with a collage. And again, you can make the collage out of anything you want, any subject that interests you, a sport, family pictures, maybe you're into four-wheeling or snowmobiling or something like that. Whatever something is that you're interested in, we can make a collage. Refer to your calendar to look at the requirements for how many pictures you need and what other requirements there are for that particular assignment. All right, we'll catch you on the next tutorial.